Hey, flower friends. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa, coming to you here on a unexpected Saturday night. Friends, I just realized today that I never came out this morning and watered my lifelines. Um, so I am watering, and I have some pretty dry seedlings, but I'm okay with that. So I thought I would chit chat with you guys while I do it, and just talk a little bit about seedlings. And what I really wanted to say is we got more snow today. Not much, barely, just enough to be a problem, right? 1 to 3 inches, they said. Well, we're lucky to have gotten 1 inch. And all of this deep dive temperatures, we're supposed to have a feels like 0 tonight. I don't remember that for a really, really long time. So I know what crop I'm probably going to lose tonight, probably Billy Balls. We'll see if he survives. Thank goodness I have more started for very early spring. But what I wanted to talk about, or just kind of highlight, this is why we succession plant as farmers and as gardeners that really want to have crops. It's not only that you want to stretch out the work and have consistent, constant harvest potential, right? But it's like, if something happens to a crop or to your whole garden, then you can you have backup. So what I'm concerned about, of course, are all my cool flowers that were fall planted out in the garden last fall. They've been beautiful. It's been one of the best cool flower gardens that I've seen in several years. It was just perfect, right? Well, they're looking great up until I videoed. I think I posted stuff showing under the covers. They looked awesome. Well, we're just having this prolonged cold, and it just makes me concerned. Doesn't mean that there's anything to be done. There's nothing that can be done. We just ride it out and see. But the peace of mind, the heart, the part that helps you sleep at night is all of these seedlings that had already been started for the next succession, which is planting cool season hardy annuals in very early spring. And that's what these are. And I about dried some of them up, y'all. So I'm going to water here. This is a real mix of that's stock. That's straw flowers. And they're pretty dry in the back. This room, I'm in a 10 by 10 room. It's like a spare bedroom size, but I have a floor drain in the middle of this room. So my concrete floor barely slants. So the backs of the trays always get the driest. And this is my didiscus that has just sprouted. This is more straw flowers. This is my eucalyptus. And on top of not watering this morning, I had a podcast to do this morning. And I don't ever go anywhere, right? But I had a party to go to, a girls' party, luncheon for somebody. And so I didn't do my regular kind of schedule. So I didn't water this morning. Well, on top of that, we have the heat bumped up in this building because it's, below 20 degrees outside. Well, the door on this grow room was shut. There's a vent blowing warm air in here. So this stuff really got dry. Let me get some more water. So they kind of got a double doozy of dryness. And so this is my eucalyptus. And he loves this heat. That's exactly what it needs. So my eucalyptus is pretty small. That stuff. And this is more straw flowers. And this is a straw flower that didn't germinate very good for whatever reason. Here's more didiscus. Rebecca Chimchimney looks pretty good. And thank goodness we have some more Billy Balls. Because I am afraid, y'all, for my Billy Balls. That's Godicia. This is more straw flowers. I grow a bunch of colors of straw flowers. They're just great. And this is more didiscus. I have 3 colors of didiscus. This is more stock. We got a lot of stock in here. And then down here, this is Sweet William. I know y'all can't see everything, but I can't really move the camera around. This is a little tray of snaps. This is more stock. And more stock. And then this is pincushion scabiosis. I think it's blue cockadee. I don't know what that is. Didn't germinate very good. It looks like, what is that? Oh, that's a straw flower. And down here low is my bupleurum that we started with that hack of getting it to germinate inside. And then there's Bells of Ireland, Ami Magus, dill. I am pretty certain the dill's going to die too outside. And then down here, more of my hacks. This is that new variety of bupleurum I'm trying. And it germinated like a champ. And we also experimented with larkspur, and it germinated. All right, so I have some more over here. So I'll be right back, y'all. So I've got eucalyptus over here. I've got more Clarkia. Pincushion, more snaps. More Clarkia. More stock. You know, y'all, there's nothing more reassuring in a deep freeze than coming out and watering your seedlings. I mean, look at these little fellas. You know what this is? This is cress green dragon. I can never remember the name. They are like, so should have been planted out weeks and weeks ago. They're the leftovers. And I've been using them as demos. See how they're getting a little yellow? But these boogers are in 3/4 inch blocks, y'all. They still look awesome, don't they? I can't dump them. So this is my habit. I go through and do what you just saw. I watered everybody. And then I look again and say, this one has no residual water. Maybe it needs a little bit more. Especially since they got so dry. Yeah. The stock, because it's, most of it looks like this. It's pretty big. That means it dries out really quick. And there's my Sweet William. He got pretty dry. Some of those are pretty unhappy looking, but they'll be fine, y'all. I have no problem stressing my seedlings a little bit, letting them get overly dry. So much better than letting them get overly wet. All right, let me just take a look over here, and then we'll look at some of these. So the real story is, it does seem to me, well, I guess if you're in the southeast and the northeast, you're getting hammered. I know that people in the Midwest and other areas have really gotten hammered too, it happens, right? But there's nothing you can do except trust the process, and do what you're supposed to do. I keep hearing a dog. I know that's not my dog. I just left him in the house in front of the fire with my husband. But coming out here and spending some time with my seedlings. So you want to see my drooping stock? All right, so the front of the tray doesn't look too bad, right? The back of the tray looks a little wimpy. It'll be fine by the morning. And that is totally self-induced. Now, while I'm talking to you, because these were so dry, I'm going to wait a moment longer than I normally do. That one doesn't have water left. So here's how I water soil blocks. So, you saw me pour water in. And then what I normally do when I get to the end, I come back to the beginning and I look, and if there's still water in a tray, I would just dump it out. Because I have a drain in the floor, I dump it in the floor. Well, because these were so dry, I feel like I'm going to go through and I might add a little bit more water to anybody that just sucked up all the water and there's none left. And so we're going to do that. The didiscus for sure is a little dry. And that looks good. Eucalyptus is good. I'm just looking and making sure those blocks are a little dry still. See, I have to look at the back of the tray to really get, oh, this Sweet William is pretty dry. Snaps are good. This stock could use some more. Now, I never leave water in the tray. So I'm not going to walk out of here just pouring this water and then just leaving it. Okay, so coming out here and rubbing a little bit. I would be rubbing on these stock, but they're already a little stressed, so we're not going to do that. But what is just really becoming super clear to me is that succession planting is an insurance policy. It's like wearing a seatbelt in a car. You really hope you never have to use a seatbelt or your insurance, but when you need it, you need it. And succession planting has a ton of benefits as farmers and gardeners, but the added value of having this kind of craziness. I mean, I'm telling you, friends. So when they said we were getting snow again this weekend, I thought, oh my gosh, how much snow? Because, we shouldn't really leave the lightweight row covers up in frozen precipitation. Well, last weekend, I added additional hoops and kind of made my low tunnels into super tunnels, right? Because it was so cold and we just weren't expecting that much snow. And we only got 1.5 inches, right? So they were fine. So all this week, we've just been really, really cold. So nothing has really melted. And so I thought, I can't even get my covers off for this coming storm. And I'm just so grateful that we really are. The snow has already stopped here. We've only got about maybe not even 1 inch, I don't think. But my tunnels are sealed in ice and snow, a little small coating of snow. And there's just nothing more protective than that. So I'm feeling really good, but 0 degrees it's going to feel like tonight. So only time will tell. And there's nothing to be done, y'all. You just have to trust that, your plants were in good shape going into this weather. So having these guys, having my back has just made me not stress at all. It would be really sad if we lost. I have a demonstration bed back here that I think I actually posted that in my membership, maybe not here, but it's only like a 3x10 cutting gardens, all cool flowers. It's a beautiful little garden. Well, the billy balls in that little garden were so much better off than the ones out in my big garden. I don't know why, location, microclimate, whatever. And I'm just wondering now, it'll be really interesting to see how they come through all of this. So now I think this water has had enough time. I'm going to start dumping. So this tray still has some water. So if you were in your home, obviously you could have a bucket down there to catch this, but I don't have to do that. And the key to dumping off excessive water is to go slow. Meaning don't just quickly turn your trays, because wet blocks can actually slide. Look at my didiscus. This is the slowest germinator, y'all. literally that was started, where it was January 7th. This is the 31st. Most often stuff germinates like 5 to 7 days at the most. This just germinated at the first of this week. So it's got too much water, so I'm pouring it off, and I'm just going slow so it doesn't wash my blocks away, because you never leave water. I don't mind leaving just a smidgen of residual water, but you don't want stuff. That one's not bad. Eucalyptus doesn't take a lot of water because they aren't very vigorous growers, right? That's how we kill them, right? Is over watering them. Here's another. This straw flower looks great. This is, it's my favorite color. You think that's why it grew so well? This is orange. Y'all, I think straw flowers are one of the most underused ingredient in bouquets. Commercial customers bloom and love them, and supermarkets cannot get enough of them. Only occasionally did we even have any for our supermarkets. I mean, I could have sold all of it. This is the lacy pink didiscus. Look at that. They're pretty awesome. If you haven't grown didiscus, they're pretty awesome. They come in white, lavender blue, and pink. And it's like a baby shower, little girl baby shower pink. It is really, really pretty. It would be of demand in the designer world. This is Chimchimney, Rudbeckia. And Rudbeckia is a slow grower, just like eucalyptus. I love Chimchimney. And many of these are successions. So here's my billy balls. Look how good they look. We planted Chimchimney and billy balls last fall. And this is the succession. This one doesn't have, I think you need some more water. Sometimes I find that this is Clarkia, the Grace series, that's white. This is another straw flower. This is copper red. I don't know why I started that. It's not my favorite color, but usually I don't start it. That's more of a good summer color, It's kind of dark. And here's another didiscus. This is the white. Look how pretty they are. I just love seedlings, y'all. So here's stock, and this has got too much water. This is Cat's Blue. And here is, look, he looks pretty sad, y'all. This is my Sweet William. Look at him laying down. They'll be fine in the morning. They had a bad owner. Y'all, I am so structured in my time, meaning I get up, I go outside, I water, and then I go on. If I skip something that's my everyday like that, I just never think about it again. And we were in there watching the road show. We love watching the road show. And something came on about plants, and I thought, oh my goodness, I never water. All right. All right, let me look over here. Eucalyptus is the only warm season that we have going, because it's just such a darn slow grower, right? To get a nice size transplant, 12 to 16 weeks. I started it first week of January, and we don't plant it till mid-April. Cutest little tray of snaps. Our snaps out in the garden that were planted last fall look so great, y'all. It's going to be so good to come out of this crazy weather and to see how the beds look, right? All right, only one left. That dragon crest. Let's give him a break. So that's what I'm up to. I'm just really, really thankful for succession planting. And, you know, you don't learn this stuff overnight either, by the way. I was helping a club member, and, you know, I mean, I can remember back, I struggled for several years just trying to get my seed starting system going. You know what I mean? I'd have great results, and then I'd hit a year when it was like nothing just did like it was supposed to. And it really all comes down to, you know, you can count on that if you have crummy results, if you are having multiple different varieties, you know, you having stalk and straw flower and didiscus issues. When it's more than one plant, one variety, when it's more than one, you always look to the environment. There's something that is not conducive, right? And as I mentioned today to her, because when we try so hard to follow all the exact steps and then it doesn't go right, it is really frustrating. I know, because I've been there. That's when you just step back and hit reset, y'all. I mean, just literally reread the instructions that you're following. Did you really read it and then read it again? So often, what are the top 5? I mean, I just did a show on this week inside the app. One of the live gardening shows, the top 5 mistakes to avoid in seed starting. I mean, it is so simple. And we talk to people all the time, and they tell us what they did, and they did the complete opposite of what the seed packet instructions said. Like, they either covered the seed with soil or they didn't, and the seed pack told them the opposite. Or maybe they planted it out in the garden and the seed packet clearly said, start them indoors, you know? Sometimes we just have to sit down and review what the instructions are. So this is the time of year when everybody, I said it on my podcast, the podcast won't come out for a week and a half or something, that this is the time of the year where people are killing seeds all over the world. I mean, this is the time that people start more seeds than any other time of the year. And so frequently they just don't have good instructions or clear instructions, and that's what kind of leads to failure. And, you know, that's one of the things that led me to actually, for us to package seeds for the Gardener's Workshop. We tried to find seeds that were already packaged that we could resell, right? Like a brand name. But that we could not find a brand that actually had complete instructions, meaning like, did it say, do you or don't you cover the seed with soil? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. It was really pretty basic. So, you know, fear not, y'all. You just have to keep trying over and over again. And I'm just feeling better already being in presence of these seedlings. I could literally, I want to sit here and pull the little seed heads off the didiscus. They're kind of like zinnias, where the seeds will get stuck. I could do that all day too, y'all. I could just mess with them. Oh, look down here. Y'all see this yet? This is the white didiscus. And you know, because it did take it such a long time to germinate, so I'm just carefully holding on to the stem, and chances are good that that little seedling will overcome getting rid of that seed, but it might not. And I really love doing it. Let's turn this tray around. Probably because, so this is a good example of what is called, oh, I just messed up that. So this little block is a good example. This happens to snapdragons, but you can't see it as well because snap seeds are so small. This is what we call helmet head. Can y'all see that? Where the seed is just still holding on and hasn't let go. I won't pinch that one off because it's not, I would not do that very successfully if I had a pair of scissors. Now the ones that have leaves, but the seed is still kind of trapping the two leaves, I'll pull them off. Kind of fun actually. And Didiscus looks like kind of similar to a scabby, but it's not as concave, it's more flat. Looks like an Omnimagus, Queen Anne's lace, smaller, but in colors. And I only plant it in very early spring because I don't find that it's very winter hardy here for me. I mean, aren't they just the prettiest? Can y'all see them? It's kind of dark in this room. So friends, I just thought I would come on here, and now I'm on a roll pulling seed heads off. I just needed to come out here and water, and wanted to just say how incredibly thankful I am for succession planting. While I don't think that that I'm gonna have to rely on any of these, but they're my next succession, right? You know what I mean? I don't think I'm gonna lose except for Billy Balls. It's just nice to know that if I did lose them, I have a whole room full of seedlings to back it up. And that's the joy of succession. You know, in summertime, people frequently say, why in the world would you plant 2 to 5 more times? Depends on what your level of need is. But if a storm, you know, comes and flattens a part of your garden, pests, diseases, on top of the fact that you want a constant influx of new, fresh crops, right, to come in and be a part of what's already producing. And this is a great example, this storm. A lot of people are very concerned, and I totally get it. But you just have to trust the process. And so our beds for all these have been made since October. They're sitting out there. They're totally prepared. They have film Bio 360 on them, black side up. Literally, we'll be able to go out there, and if we need to sweep with a very gentle big broom the snow off the beds, and we'll plant, and then they'll be they're already hooped, and we have row cover ready to go on the minute that they're planted. So their space is ready and waiting for them is what I'm saying, because you can't prepare soil this time of the year, right? And there's a lot of pieces to pull together, y'all. And once you pull it all together, it's pretty juicy, pretty nice. So I'll just look on here and see. You know me, y'all, I can't resist a question. Good gracious. Okay, let's see. So somebody's asking about my maintenance schedule. So it's not an antifungal. I don't know what you call it. It's a BT. It's actually a biological. So Mondays I put liquid seaweed fish, which is Neptune's Harvest. You can find all of this on my website. The Neptune's Harvest is in the watering can on Mondays. And then on Wednesdays, I put these bits, mosquito bits, in my watering can. It's labeled for fungus gnats, and that eliminates any fungus gnats that are developing in the soil. And see this yellow sticky up here? That captures the adults. Just looking, y'all. And just in case anybody doesn't know, I do a live gardening show 2 or 3 times a week inside my phone app. The app is free. And we do a lot of demonstration and talking about stuff here on the farm. Natalie, I love seeing all the seedlings Makes me so happy. Me too. Me too. I've only started my Lysianthus, but try and seed snails instead of soil blocks this year. Good luck. I'm just looking. I know I saw another question on here. Does the soil and the soil blocks wash away when you water? No, you can look and tell. You can see it does not. It's about the soil blocking mix that you use, your method of watering, how frequent you water, all those things work together. Oop. If you point your watering can towards the outside edge of your tray and don't let the stream hit the blocks, they'll hold together better. And that too, great point, Leanne. I started my sweet peas 2 weeks ago. Inside at 65 degrees. They have sprouted this past week. Is it safe to move them to an unheated greenhouse? Weekly temperatures are high 30s, low 20s. Not if you want them to grow. I mean, sweet peas will take 20s, you know, if they're growing. They've got a little bit of size to them, but they're not going to grow at all. So we leave ours sitting outside basically above freezing, I guess. And we've had a little dip below, but they just sit stagnant. They aren't really going to do much growing. It depends on what your point is. If you want them to grow or if you're trying to hold them. And so there's my friend Janice, who held my hand on my Sweet William that we've got a bed that we haven't done anything with. It's just been totally open, as well as my Iceland poppies. And they all look so great. She reassured me. So BT is the mosquito bits. That's what that is. It's a strand of BT, and you can find those over on my website, thegardenersworkshop.com. And yeah, so that's what we do. Feeling pretty good, y'all. Feeling pretty good. I'm super happy about my Didiscus. All right. So I guess I'm going to go back inside. I'm just glad the snow has stopped. I know some people are really getting hammered again. Oh my gosh. Daniel, pedal pickers in South Carolina, they are just really getting a lot of snow, which they don't usually ever get snow. I mean, I just watched a video of him using a leaf blower to get the snow off his houses. I mean, he looked so tired, y'all. I just want to go down there and help him. Because all this is on top of all the hard physical work. That is very stressful. He ships flowers all over the country, and he has tons of tulips on the verge for Valentine's. Anyway, welcome to flower farming. All right, my friends, I'm going to sign off. And I just really wanted to hit home to people just how succession planting is part of your security plan in having flowers, whether it's, you know, for your garden or for a flower farming business. And I'm so grateful for that. And if you need to learn how to do that, my big calendar, my friends, you can comment calendar here. My big calendar that has my seed starting and planting guide, has all my instructions on how I've done it for all these years, and it simplifies and makes it so doable. Anyway, all right, my friends, I am out of here. Thanks for joining me tonight, and wish you could be here in this warm room with all these little babies growing. They're so much happier now that I watered them. And till we meet again, my friends, ciao.